Hello, welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. I'm Eric Soligoy, editor of Crop Life and Crop Life Iron, here again with Laura Sawinski from beautiful, sunny, probably dry Texas. How you doing, Laura?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's actually a somewhat warm day, high 50s, maybe low 60s, so all good
Okay.
out here in West Texas.
You realize for us in Ohio, those are temperatures that we never, ever talk about in February. So the best I think today is supposed to be getting up to about 48. That's where we're going to top out for like the next 2 weeks. So
Wow. Well, that's almost shorts and t-shirt weather, isn't it?
I almost brought my tank top today, but I thought maybe that'd be overkill for our audience. They really don't need to be seeing my shoulders and all their white skin glory. So hey, Miss Laura, got a couple of things to share with the audience this week. Of course, this is that time of year when everybody's talking about planting intentions, and the report from USDA that's going to have the official planting intentions for farmers this year isn't due out for about another month and a half. I know it probably comes out around the time we're going to be at the Commodity Classic event at the end of February, but the folks at S&P Global have put out their crop projections report, and according to them, they're saying that the growers are going to, as they say, trim their corn acreage 1.7% down to 93 million acres.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to expand soybean acreage 2.3% to 85.5 million acres. Now, again, that sort of doesn't agree with USDA numbers. USDA's early projections that I saw said that with the demand for renewable diesel, that they expected the soybean and corn acreage numbers to be basically even.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what S&P Global is foreseeing. So again, we'll have to wait for about another month or a month and a half to find out what the final projection numbers are. But I know this kind of matches up with our Crop Life 100 survey when we asked the ag retailers what their customers were planning to plant. Most of them indicated that they thought there would still be more corn than soybean going into the ground in 2024. So interesting tidbit on that.
Yeah, so one more month then, and then we'll have the USDA's project.
Yeah, those usually come out sometime in March, I believe, early March. So we'll know. Like I say, right around Commodity Classic time, usually folks are talking about that. So for folks interested, stay tuned. In a little while, we'll sure have those projections for everyone. So hey, before we jump to the rest of the news I have to share, I know you're wearing the cap from Women in Ag Tech, of course. I don't know if that's this year's cap or the prior year, but if you could, that took place at the Vision Conference, which took place a few weeks back in Arizona. But you want to share some of the highlights from that meeting with your partners in Ag Tech?
Yeah, thank you. This cap certainly got a lot of exposure on January 22nd. That was our second in-person meeting, co-located with the Vision Conference, as you mentioned. I wanted to also mention, before I start talking about some highlights from our WiAT meeting, we now have the womeninagtech.com site. It's live. We're adding more content and photos and stuff to it, but y'all can check that out. We still have and are active on our LinkedIn group, the Women in Ag Tech LinkedIn group. So check out both of those. So Women in Ag Tech, I kind of started with some welcome remarks, and welcome remarks, as the name suggests, is, welcome and little housekeeping, so on and so forth. But I kind of went the deep thinking route, if you will, and I guess maybe, as a journalist, as a person that just is very mindful of people's time and effort to, come to in-person events, make that an investment. So it was kind of like, why are we here? Why does Women in Ag Tech exist? And how can we make sure that you feel this is worthy of your time and investment and efforts and all that? So what I was thinking about my answer to that, the why, was and I have followed this topic for quite a while, about gender bias in technology and developers, and being that they uh, are mostly represented by younger white males, if you will, and we know that sometimes when it comes to surveillance and stuff, I think we were talking about that's something that gender bias is inherent. And so why would a woman want to be involved with our women in ag tech community? And to me, that's one very compelling reason, to be part of the conversation and content development, and the webinars, the themes that we are pursuing and exploring, if you will, with our women in ag tech community. So, I had the pleasure, actually, of talking with Lori Boyer. She is an ag radio broadcaster. She's got several programs. She's great. We had a really nice discussion just after we returned back from the Vision Conference and WiAT meeting. So once my interview with her is available online, we'll share that. But I did want to also mention we did have, as I've noted previously, a special agent from the FBI talking to our Women in Ag Tech group. And she shared some items on the theme of cybersecurity in ag. And I wanted to just kind of highlight a couple of these for our Retail Week listeners. So one of the items that she was talking about was the initial intrusion vectors. So these ranged from chemical, energy, communications sectors to healthcare and public health. And food and agriculture wasn't the lowest, wasn't the highest. That would be healthcare and public health, as far as hits and folks trying to exploit for ransomware and so forth. But food and ag is, I think it's really important to just re-emphasize how often, in fact, someone came up to me afterwards. I won't share the person's name or the company they were with, but they confirmed that indeed every day they are hit hundreds of times. It's just amazing. So it was just, so how vulnerable food and ag is. The answer is it's gets hit a lot each day. So some of the things, one thing that our FBI special agent did say, however, despite the multiple attempts each day, despite the ones that do get through, that the quicker that an organization can respond, and if you go to the website ic3.gov, that is the website. If you can report an intrusion or a breach, the quicker you do it, their ability, the FBI's ability to recover an asset or to thwart that breach is actually quite high. I mean, it's amazing how, and again, but it all depends on that first 24 to 48 hours. The quicker you can report via ic3.gov, the chances are quite high that they can help out. So I thought that was, we were all like, wow, that's absolutely great news. Good to know that. So wanted to share that with our viewers and listeners here. The other item that was, kind of how the FBI is viewing threats, just broadly, not just for those with food and ag, but food and ag as well, of course. The threats from China in particular are really, really amongst the worst. And some of the items, let me just scroll down. I'm looking at the PowerPoint that we all were able to look at. Um, China's, when you look at their 5-year plan, they always, they have a 5-year plan, and the areas that China is really looking to, exploit, if you will, AI, bioengineering, um, biotechnology, all kind of intersecting with ag. And ag is high on the list, if you will, of what China is looking to not just develop for themselves, but, we think of counterfeiting, we think of electronics and spying and stuff like that. But there's a lot of activity, nefarious activity, if you will, from China that relates to food and ag. So again, it was some things, made sense. The special agent talked about, best practices and kind of, from the low level, don't open a phishing email if you're not certain, contact IT, et cetera, all to more rigorous things that a company can do to kind of have that hygiene, if you will, around cybersecurity. But it was just a fascinating. We were all just like, again, some things, made sense. Other things were really, really surprising. Again, kind of the amount of hits that food and ag, gets each day. But also, I just can't say enough about how important it is to get that reporting out to the FBI as soon as possible. And that would be your local FBI and or the national one, because obviously they all work in tandem. So, you don't have to go to the top, if you will. You can certainly go to your local one. But just wanted to share that really stood out for me. So,
yeah, and that's very, very timely, Laura, because I know I just read in the popular press the other day. I think I was looking online at one of the news sites I regularly visit, and somebody in D.C. had mentioned the fact that, we need to keep an eye on Chinese incursions into U.S. systems, computer systems, and networks going through here in 2024. So again, timely information. So for the folks who weren't able to attend in person, again, stay tuned to our March issue of Crop Life magazine, and we'll actually have some reporting on what was talked about at the Vision Conference 2024, and I'm sure the FBI report will be a part of that story as well.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, before we jump into your favorite segment, I guess I'll combine these items under pests in the field. That would be the heading. And so I guess I'll ask you, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Is there good news about pests? I don't know.
I have one of each. So where do you want to start? You want to start bad and go good, or you want to go the reverse?
Well, let's start bad and then end on a high note with good.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, again, as it tends to happen in nature, pests that are in certain regions of the country and have been a problem are finding ways to get into new places. And we have a report here from the University of Minnesota researchers. They've discovered a new soybean pest in their area that's also in the Dakotas. It's called the soybean tentiform leaf miner. And I guess it's beginning to show up in greater frequency in Minnesota and the Dakotas. And it is causing some damage to soybean crops. So, there's always a pest that everybody's paying attention to, something new that emerges every growing year. And it looks like for 2024, it may be the leaf miner in Minnesota and the Dakotas. We'll have to keep an eye on.
Did this leaf miner come from China? Was it hijacked on? I
don't have that data. So I suspect it's been something that maybe has been enjoying more southern climates and now is moving north as things get a little warmer, a little longer.
Yep.
But now on the good news front, this also involves soybeans. Soybean cyst nematode is a very, very destructive pest in soybean fields across the country, causes about $1.5 billion worth of damage each year. Some researchers in Missouri and Georgia have now discovered that there is a single gene that if you get rid of that single gene in the soybean plants, that soybean cyst nematode cannot then attack those plants.
Wow.
So those researchers, they've been working on this, and based on their data, if you get rid of this one gene, plants then cannot be attacked by the pest. So they're talking about using CRISPR gene editing techniques in the future to actually make soybean plants more resistant or completely resistant to soybean cyst nematodes. So again, it'll probably be another 10 years or so before we see something practical in the field. But again, under the heading of good news to come for growers, this would qualify.
That's great. That's cool.
All right. Well, Miss Laura, then, time for your favorite segment of the show. Time for Fun with Numbers. Oh, and I'm rooting for you. You really need a win. So.
Yep, I do.
All right.
I do.
So this week, your number is a measurement, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
1 billion gallons.
Okay.
All right. So is 1 billion gallons, Miss Laura, is that A, the increase in biomass-based diesel production in 2023? Is it B, the increase in runoff water that occurred during 2023? Is it C, the decrease in diesel usage for agriculture in 2023? Or is it D, the amount of water currently pooled in my backyard following the latest 3-day rain event here in Ohio?
Oh my gosh, Eric. These are
And I tell you, it's probably I was going to say, it's probably not 1 billion gallons, but I know my sump pump has been running for about 3 weeks straight, so it's got to be a lot.
All right, so 3 was the ag's usage of diesel, right?
Correct. That was C, yes. Mm-hmm.
But is that biodiesel or?
No, just diesel, just regular diesel. So, no, the biodiesel was A. So,
yeah, I'm gonna go with A.
Yay! You are absolutely correct, ma'am. Yes, this was a story from our friends. Yes, congratulations. Our friends at the Clean Fuel Alliance of America released some data saying that, according to their data, biomass-based diesel, which includes biodiesel, renewable diesel, sustainable aviation fuel, and heating oil, reached 4 billion gallons in 2023, which was an increase of 1 billion gallons from 2022's production numbers. So again, we talked earlier about more soybean to feed the renewable diesel, and sounds like there'll be definitely a need for that based on these numbers. Congratulations.
Okay, make a note in your calendar that I did get this one right on this date. So that wait for the next 3 months when I keep on missing them. At least I move the.
Hey, you're moving the needle. You got to, what do they say? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. This is the first step, the first quiz you got right. So we'll see if we can keep it going again next week. So everyone, tune in next week to find out if Laura again is a successful bell ringer in the Fun with Numbers segment. So
yay.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Retail Week. I'm Eric Svulagoy. On behalf of myself, Laura Sawinski, and all of us at Crop Life, we hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again soon. If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comments section below. Your feedback is important to us. We will try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.